Hi, and welcome to the last session of Compassion in Action. I hope you've been having fun this week. We've been learning a lot about different ways to understand and how to show compassion, and we can begin to see that we need to be open to seeing the others around us and welcoming to all, being brave and trusting in God, and caring and loving ourselves so that we can trust our voice and to love one another. All this helps us to be present with each other along the way and follow God's lead. So when we cultivate our seeds of compassion, we become open to seeing the wideness and goodness of God's creation. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to see those seeds of change and what can we do to help to understand. What do we need to do to help with the climate change and the climate? How can we help to prevent climate change? How can we do our part? Could we learn how to compost and make a compost bin in our backyard? What about saving water? Do you know how your water gets into your house or your apartment and what you could do to help to save water? There's a thing in San Antonio called the Purple Pipe System, and the Purple Pipe System allows us to use recycled water for things like our laundry or doing our lawns so that we're not having to use the clean water that we need for drinking. So there's lots of different things that we can understand how to be good neighbors and compassionate to those that we live in. Maybe it's things like when you need a new outfit that first you go to the used clothing store so that we're not using more natural resources to make new clothes when you could use clothes that have been gently used by someone before. And then, of course, one of the most fun ways of seeing the seeds of change is to see God's creation growing right in front of us, and that is actually seeing how seeds change into plants right before our eyes. So I encourage you to learn about saving energy and saving water with your family as you go through this summer and practice some of the things that you've learned in Compassion in Action. But today we're going to show you how you can see a very tangible evidence of God's work in action in the seeds of change. And I'll let Jennifer explain the activity for you.
So in your session 5 bag, you should have gotten a little pot, so a little baggie full of some soil, a little baggie full with some bean seeds in it. There's 3 little bean seeds in there. And then you should have gotten a paper towel. The first thing that you want to do is you want to go to your nearest sink and get your paper towel nice and wet. Mine's still dripping just a little bit. That's perfect. And you're going to put that nice wet paper towel in the baggie with your bean seeds. So you want to make sure that you put the bean seeds so they're kind of surrounded by the paper towel. Make sure they get nice and wet and covered in water. And I'm going to kind of spread my seeds out a little bit here so they have some room. And then I'm going to not completely seal the bag shut. I'm going to leave it open because they still need some air to grow. So you can see my little beans here. They're white, so they're hard to see on the white paper towel. On my paper towel, I spaced them out nicely so they'll have room to grow. So then you're going to take your baggie and your tape that you had in your bag, and you're going to tape it to a window in your house that gets a lot of sunlight. Like it's sunlight most of the time. And you're going to leave your beans there. Check on them every day, and in about 3 to 5 days-ish, you're going to see that your little beans are going to start to sprout. They're going to start to grow some roots. If you leave them in there long enough, you'll even see you might see some little green sprouts coming out of them. Once you see your beans starting to sprout, you know that's the time that you're going to move them from their little paper towel home to their pot. So on your little pot first, before you put any dirt in it or anything, You can decorate it however you want. Again, with your permanent markers, they're going to work the best, or if you have paint at home, you can make your pot as beautiful as you want to make it. And then you're going to fill up your pot pretty much all the way to the top. You'll see in most terracotta pots there's like a little line where they've kind of joined here. That's probably a good place to fill it up to. You're going to fill it up with your little baggie of dirt. There should be more than enough dirt for your little pot. And then you're going to transport your little beans from here very, very gently into the dirt. It's okay to leave some of the paper towel with it because the paper towel is going to kind of disintegrate and decompose and live in your little pot with your beans. So from there, when you've poked your little beans into your pot, you can put them back on like a windowsill in your house, or you can put them outside. If you put them outside, make sure that you're checking on them because it's really hot out right now. They may need more water than they would be if they're in your house. And you'll be able to see your little bean plants grow right out of your little pot. If they grow really tall, and they make it that long, you may need to transfer them from this little tiny pot to a bigger pot, so that you can actually grow some beans and maybe eat them if they decide to actually make some beans.
You would love to see a picture if your beans grow big enough to grow beans. Then you definitely want to take a picture of it and hashtag it so that we all can see how much your seeds have changed from little seeds to big bean plants. Maybe you'll even be inspired to have your own garden and grow some plants so that you can share food with your friends and family as part of your showing of compassion and love for those that are living around you. We've had a lot of fun this week sharing some ideas of how you can show compassion in action, and I'm sure that you can think of a lot more ideas now as you talk with your family and friends. So remember, be kind to yourself. Remember that you are loved, and be kind, and be yourself. And God made you and loves you just the way you are. Thanks for joining us.